Okay, sir. So first we'll see what do you mean by testing and how many ways we can go for testing. Then we'll go for automation tool. Okay. So is it audible? Any doubt?
Yes, it's audible.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's audible.
Okay. So testing is a process of executing a system or a program and intended to find an error. Intended to find an error or to detect the errors, we go for testing. This testing can be done either by manual or automation. Either by manual or automation. So if you're using manually, we are going to write some test cases. And if you're using an automation tool, we are going to write some test scripts. So we are using some tool like Selenium, and using the Selenium, in that Selenium, we are using some programming languages like Java, Ruby, Python, Perl, PHP, and C#. So you can use any one of the programming to test your web applications. So when you come to the Selenium, when you come to the automation tool Selenium, actually it is an open source tool. We'll call it as a open source tool. What do you mean by open source tool? Anybody? Free
It's a free of
downloadable
cost.
software. Or we can also, it is a platform. It is a platform independent tool. Okay, that is, it will support any operating system. So it is a free downloading software, as well as supports any operating system. Using Selenium, we can test any number of pages, browsers in a single operating system or in multiple operating systems. Here, pages in the sense Gmail, Yahoo, Reddit, Flipkart. These are all the applications in different browsers like Internet Explorer, Safari, Opera, Chrome. In different operating system, Windows 7, Windows 8, Mac, Unix, Linux. So any operating system. So multiple applications can be tested in multiple browsers within multiple operating system using Selenium. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay. So Selenium supports programming languages like Java, Ruby, Python, Perl, PHP, and C#. So using this programming language, we are going to test your web applications. Next, if you want to define what you mean by Selenium, is nothing but a set of test suite automation tools which are used to test web applications is known as Selenium. Here, test suite in the sense multiple components. Using multiple components, we are going to test your web applications. Now, components in Selenium are A, IDE will called as integrated development environment. RC is a web remote control. Third one is WebDriver, and the last one is called as a grid. These are the 4 components where we're going to test your web applications. The first 2 components are Selenium 1.0 versions. Since these tools we are not using out, these tools will support the older version of your operating system. For example, you want to test a Gmail or Yahoo, something like, right? So if you want to test these applications, this will support only Windows 98, Windows 2000, those operating system will be supported. The latest version which are not supported using IDE and RC. So when you want to test your web applications using WebDriver and Grid only, you can test your web applications. Using Grid and WebDriver, we can test your web applications. You can test your web applications. Now, IDE is nothing but integrated development environment. We call it as integrated development environment. RC in this sense will call it as a remote control. We'll call it as a remote control. Now, these two will come under Selenium 1.0 and these two will come under Selenium 2.0 is there. Selenium 3.0 is also there. Both are the same, but different components are there. Selenium 2.0 or 3.0. Versions different, but concept, all the concepts and identification is the same. Okay, Selenium 3.0. So in companies presently, we are working on WebDriver and Grid. These are the two components where we are going to work on Selenium, WebDriver and Grid. Is it audible? And if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Anybody?
It's audible.
If you have any doubts, just you can ask me. Okay. Now, IDE, RC, WebDriver, Grid. IDE will called as integrated development environment, remote control. Now, when you come to the IDE, actually, this is a record and playback tool. It is a record and just 1 second. So this is a record and playback tool, which is used to test web applications. You test your web applications. Record and playback is nothing but, for example, this is a inbuilt function for Firefox. When you want to perform some operations, when you click on record, automatically script will be generated. So automated script is called as a recording. It's called as a recording. So the script can be generated, will be generated in the form of HTML, and this ID supports browsers. Only supported browser is only Firefox. It doesn't support any other browsers like Chrome, Safari, Opera, Chrome. These are all not supported. Only it supports only Firefox. And the reports can be generated in the form of a .html. In the form of .html. Next, Using IDE, we can test any number of pages, comma, in a single browser, within a single operating system with older version. It doesn't support any other browsers. It supports only the older version of the operating system. This is an outdated version. Since it is supporting older world, only one browser, that is older version, and it supports only one Firefox browser only. It doesn't support Chrome, Safari, Opera. It won't support it. So it's a failure case. Later on, they use a tool called as an RC. Actually, this is a server-based tool. This is a server-based tool which is used to test web applications. Which is used to test your web applications. So mean that once you connect this server, then only you can interact with the browser and the page. Without this server, you cannot test your any web applications. This is server scripting programming language. This RC supports programming languages like Java, Ruby, Python, Perl, PHP, and C#. So these are the programming language does RC supports. Using RC, we can test any number of pages, comma, browsers in a single operating system with older version. This is also supporting the older version, but we can test any browsers are supported. Any browsers already supported. Next, the reports can be generated. In the form of .xml file, extended markup language. Next, here cross-browser, parallel testing is possible by TestNG or JUnit. There are two methodology where you can design your frameworks. I will tell you that, sir. So using TestNG or JUnit, you can test the cross-browser as well as parallel testing. What is the difference between cross-browser and parallel testing? Cross-browser in the sense, single application can be tested in multiple browsers at a time. That is parallel. It is multiple browsers parallel. Example, I want to test my Gmail page using Internet Explorer, Safari, Opera, Chrome. You can test it at a time. You can test it. So single application can be tested in multiple browsers at a time. That is called cross-browser. Parallel testing is nothing but multiple applications can be tested using multiple browsers, tested with multiple browsers in a single operating system. That is Gmail, Yahoo, Reddit, Flipkart, Internet Explorer, Safari, Opera, Chrome. At a time, you can test multiple applications in multiple browsers. That's a parallel testing. Here, Chrome browser, using this, you can also test framework design. So here, framework design is also possible by TestNG or JUnit. By JUnit. TestNG, test next generation. JUnit, Java unit. So there are two methodology where we are going to design your framework. For example, you have a test data, you have a requirement, you have a data in your Excel sheet. You need to integrate the data from the Excel sheet using a tool, and we can interact with the browser and the page. For example, in your Excel sheet, we are having 1,000 username and passwords. I want to extract each and every username and password. by using Selenium with Eclipse, and I'm going to run my Gmail page. You can get each and every data from your Excel sheet. So there are different frameworks where you're going to design, like keyword framework, data driven framework, hybrid frameworks are there. We are going to discuss those things also. Okay. So framework designing is also possible. Now, when you come to the RC, the both of the RC and the WebDriver are both equal. Only the difference is RC supports older version of your operating system, and WebDriver will support the latest version of your operating system. Only the latest version. That's all. And when you come for WebDriver, this is a non-server based tool. It doesn't require any server. Directly, it will be interact with the browser on the page, and you can test any number of browsers or pages at a time. Next, this also supporting programming languages same. Both whatever the programming language is supported for RC, the same we can support with the grade also, with WebDriver also. So we can test any number of applications, browsers. Same thing we can also do it in the, but only the difference is using WebDriver, you can test any number of pages, browsers in a single operating system. This is the latest version, Here also the reports can be generated in the form of .xml file. Here also we are doing the cross-browser testing as well as parallel testing. We can do it out. Next, we can go with the frameworking designing is also possible using WebDriver. So this is the overall part of you. Right. Got any doubts? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. As of now, no doubts.
Okay. So when you come to the grid now, actually grid is a server-based tool. It is a server-based tool where we can run. That is, grid supports both older version as well as latest version of your operating system. That is using grid, we can test WebDriver scripts as well as RC scripts. It supports older version as well latest version, means older version is RC scripts and latest version WebDriver scripts also can run in grid itself. It's a grid itself. Here what we are doing in grid is we are going to connect the node and the hub end. We'll go for node and hub. How we are going to run your application using single operating system in a single operating system, and how we are going to test your application in multiple operating system, that will see it in the grid itself. So here we are going to connect the server, and using the server we can show how this application works in different environments at a time. In WebDriver and grid, only one operating system, but when you go for a grid, single operating system as well as multiple operating systems also we can test it out. By using IP address and port number, you can run the applications. Next, grid also supports same programming language what the WebDriver and RC supported. Same programming language is also supported for that. Now here also using grid, we can test here. We can test any number of pages, browsers in not in a single operating system, but in multiple operating systems. That is latest versions as well as older versions. Next, here the reports can be generated in the form of .xml file. Here also the same thing. Cross browser testing we can do it out, parallel testing we can do it, everything whatever. The only the difference is multiple operating system we can do it parallelly. So that's all. Here also the framework design is also possible by TestNG or JNet. So I'm going to cover up with WebDriver and go with the grid also. So to go with this, we need to have your core Java concepts. So anyway, I'm going to cover up this core Java also, which is a part of your course. So in this core Java, we are going to learn what do you mean by variables, what do you mean by constants, data types, arrays, exceptional handling, next loops, oops concepts, classes and objects, polymorphism, constructors. Okay, next we are going to learn what user defined variables or user inputs, keywords. All these things we are going to learn using in core Java. And installation process also I'm going to show you how to install your Java JRE 1.7 version or 1.8, JDK 1.7, Eclipse, how you are going to install your Eclipse. Next, jar files, some jar files are there. That installation process also I'll show you how to work on that. Now, and in WebDriver, what are the things we are going to learn is, first we are going to work with how to run your application in using multiple browsers. That is testing your application in multiple browsers. To go with multiple browsers, first we need to have your methods and locators. Next, how do you count the number of links? Radio buttons. Next, checkboxes, drop down elements, actions, web table, how to capture the number of rows and columns in a table, alert messages, frames, how to switch from window to window, frames to frames, Ajax testing, cross browser testing, parallel testing, scroll functions, scroll up and scroll down functions, Next, how to upload a file, download a file, downloading files. Next, we'll go for test-ng, designing, annotations in test-ng, how to read the data from Excel sheet, write data into Excel sheet. Next, framework design, Maven project, page object model, property list, data provider. So these are the things which I'm going to cover in your WebDriver. Okay, got it?